Last game actually we're going to play. Last game we're going to talk about here is Game of Thrones: Hand of the King.
Yes, it's designed by Bruno Cathala. The artist is Mihajlo. Awful Matt. Mihajlo Dimitrievski. Sorry, that was the best I could do. And it was it's published by Fantasy Flight.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to talk about this game, I guess. So everybody knows Game of Thrones. It's based on the houses from Game of Thrones. And you start by splaying out all the cards in a 6x6 grid. And the houses it's got Targaryens, you got your Starks, you got some Greyjoys, and just Lannisters, a couple different houses, Tyrells. But mixed in all these characters in this grid is also Varys, the spider. And pretty much he is trying to, I guess, convince the Lord that's in King's Landing on who should be the next Hand of the King. I think is basically the story on it. As much theme as you want to add to this. But essentially what you're doing is on this grid, you're going to pick Varys up, and he looks totally different. He's got a purple background and no house symbol or anything on him. And you pick him up and you can move him orthogonally. So, and that is the only way you can move him. And you start off by announcing a house. So if you're going to say, I'm going to say Greyjoy, you move him in one of these directions, and every Greyjoy you pass up, you will land on the furthest one, and then, pick up whatever Greyjoys you jumped over. They will go in front of you. There's these little cardboard chits that's all the different house banners. You will pick up that house that you just claimed. If you're going first, you will obviously do this. Now, what will happen is, as it goes around, if you tie or get greater than another player, you will take that house banner away from them. Essentially, I pretty much just explained the whole game. You're jumping around and you're picking up houses of people. The next thing that would even happen is when you pick up the last person of a house, there is 6 character cards, and they do random abilities that are actually very thematic to the Game of Thrones game. So, I cannot remember exactly what the guy's name is, but the guy that helped out Arya, he killed 3 guys. This guy will essentially kill one person in King's Landing, a player area, and one of the people in the character role. I can't remember, they had a term for them, but up there, them guys. And essentially you play until there are no more moves for a player to make, and then whoever has the most house tokens in front of them wins.
Cool. I played this once. Matt, you've played it multiple times.
Yes.
So I guess I'll tell you what I think first.
Go ahead.
One, it's very abstracty, but it is pretty impressive how much theme they managed to put into the game. Mm-hmm. But essentially, it's very abstract. Yeah. You're moving a guy to the left, right, up, or down, and picking up cards in the row. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty interesting. But it's nice because sometimes you don't that rule where you have to always move to the furthest of the house that you just declare.
Yes.
Is great because sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to move there because now you're going to have a better, I get 3 guys, but maybe you might even get 4,
right? Or
you might get the last 2 of a house. Mm-hmm. So you're going to finish that house, take the banner, and get a guy from the special characters or whatever. So it's like, man, that's not very worth it, idea.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. I actually like that. And the last thing, the only thing I didn't like about this game, to be honest with you, is the fact that that Varys card is a card.
Oh, right.
It should have been a token. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But, I guess you can put anything in there. Maybe they'll have a promo miniature of Varys that you can get, or like a bust.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Because you have to pick this thing up and move it all the time. And, and sometimes you're not paying attention. You look over, it's like, where it's at. Oh, there it is.
Right.
It is the only purple card, but the art and design and stuff kind of makes it blend in a little bit.
Yeah. No,
at least at first.
Yeah, I could see that. And it's just the fact that you're always picking it up and moving it.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I guess the only complaint I have is picking up all the cards. It's just because it's a lot of pick up card up, move it,
we just
pick up more
this
cards.
Whole square of cards.
Exactly. So, it is kind of, I don't know, fidgety in that sense, but
at least it's not a very long game. So now you're like doing tons of it.
Right. Exactly. And so, yeah, I demoed this last year at Gen Con, and I actually fell in love with it there. I figured my wife would like it, being a fan of Game of Thrones. And like I said, it just as silly as it sounds, it's very thematic, especially with all the characters. I wish I could remember what they're called, but the little people that you pick up for picking up the last person of a house.
Yeah, those special characters.
Yeah, special characters. They're all really. You read the card and it's like, well, you did that in the show. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, another good example would be like Khal Drogo is going to kill Viserys and take Daenerys from wherever she is. I mean, because that's what happened. So, I enjoy this game. I look forward to busting out with the wife a little bit and playing it. I guess the only thing is maybe 4 players. It gets kind of like 5 tribes-y. On like, you're not really setting anything up. You're just kind of like waiting for it to be your turn and take the best possible option.
Right.
I felt with 3 players, you could still kind of manipulate, because we were even doing that, counting turns.
Yeah.
And seeing like, well, if I do this, the best option for him is obviously to do this, which will leave this for Tim, which will get back to me. And then this should be here.
Yeah.
And I think with 4 players, it probably get a little too out of whack. You're not quite being able to plan like that, but
4 players is way too casual.
Yeah.
And so what about 2 players? Because you obviously played it 2 players, right?
2 players, you got to worry about it more.
2 players sounds like it's probably the best. What's Board Game Geek say about in that manner?
They best with 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see it being a best with 2, because it's almost like a chess game at that point.
Right.
I move here, you do this, I'm going to do this. Oh, but then you'll get this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, crap, trying to figure out what you want to do in that case.
Right.
So yeah, best with 2. It's a very small game. I thought it was pretty cool. And especially best with 2 based on the scoring as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have those banners, it's basically whoever has the most. And one thing you didn't say, I mean, there is a way, is there 7 banners or how many banners are there?
Oh, that's good.
Because in a 3-player game, you can tie, because there's a way, because obviously 2 people can tie and the 3rd person has the leftovers.
I think there's 7.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 and 4 in the punch out thing. So
yeah. So I'm pretty sure like you can't tie in
with 2 players.
Well, I guess you could, because the way the moving around, because you can,
if you
may not take all the cards.
Yeah. If by chance, I guess you didn't even touch a house.
Right.
I guess it could happen.
Yeah. Because that is a neat thing about the game, is like, there becomes a time when if you move on to that last card, and then from there you can't move on left, up, down, right, whatever,
right,
and take another card, the game ends, and there might be 2 or 3 cards left over, kind of idea. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty fun. I was actually more impressed. I went in with low expectations, because because some of those small card games that Fantasy Flight has out are very casual. Like the Star Wars one is garbage, basically. Right. And I kind of was like, man, but you said you liked it, so it had to be something I think probably would be okay, and it actually exceeded my expectations. So good. I look forward to playing it with 2 players. I probably don't care if I played it 3 or 4 anymore.
Right.
Or I don't even care to try it at 4 at all.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a very rare instance for me to just do that.
Right.
3 players I could probably get away with, but I'm looking forward to trying it with 2 for sure.
Cool.
And maybe they can make the bust with a suction cup on the bottom, so it suction cups to his card.
Right.
Around. I don't know if that would work, because I think they're linen print, but whatever.